Hello everyone, let us start with the next topic, that is neutralization reaction. So what is neutralization? So you must have also learned about this in younger classes. Let us revise. Neutralization is basically when an acid and base react together, they form salt and water. They form salt and water. So as it is mentioned over here, that whenever acid and base react together, they form salt and water. And this reaction is known as the neutralization reaction. Basically, acid and base nullify each other and the product does not have the property of either acid or base. So we have acid and base giving us salt and water. So any acid, let's say hydrochloric acid, reacts with NaOH. So we get salt, that is NaCl, and water. This is the neutralization reaction. So what is the chemistry behind it? The chemistry behind it is that, acids. We know that acids, what are acids? Acids are some things that release H plus ion in the solution. What are bases? Bases are something that release OH minus ions in the solution, right? So for example, if I am mixing an acid and a base, so here HCl will release H plus and NaOH will release OH minus, which will combine together to form a water molecule, right? And I will be left with Na plus and Cl minus ion, which will form ionic bond and form a salt NaCl, right? So this is the, the chemistry behind the neutralization reaction. Now, what are the daily life examples of the neutralization reaction? That is, first is treating indigestion. So what happens when we eat acidic food or we overeat? What happens? Some acid develops in our stomach, right? So now how do we treat it? Basically, we take medicines like magnesium hydroxide, that is milk of magnesia. So that is a base. Base and acid reacts together to form salt and water. So basically, it neutralizes the excess of acid present in our stomach. Next is bee sting. So basically, bee or ant sting, they inject formic acid into the skin, right, which causes pain. So if you apply a mild base like baking soda on that particular area, so it neutralizes the acid. Hence, you will not feel so painful. Again, treating the soil. So sometimes the soil becomes either too acidic, right? Or sometimes even if it becomes too basic. Suppose the soil is too acidic, right? Now the crops won't grow well. So we need to make it neutral. So what do? We treat it with bases like slaked lime, like calcium hydroxide is known as slaked lime, or chalk, that is calcium carbonate, so that it neutralizes the excess of acid that is present in the soil. Next is tooth decay. So, bacteria in our mouth, they produce acid after we eat sugary foods like chocolates, right, and sweets. And toothpaste, like it is generally basic. So what are base? Normal characteristics of a base? Base is soapy to touch, right? And what about acids? Acids are sour in taste, right? Bases are bitter in taste, right? So you know that toothpaste and all our soaps, they're all basic in nature. So toothpaste is generally basic and it neutralizes that acid that is produced by the bacteria, which helps to prevent the tooth decay, right? So I hope you all understood about the neutralization reaction, which is a very easy type of a reaction, right? Okay, so let us test our knowledge. So this is what we had learned in the previous video. So which gas is produced when zinc granules react with hydrochloric acid? So yes, it is hydrogen gas. Next. So a milkman adds a tiny amount of baking soda to the fresh milk, right? This is an example of what? Right? This is applying the concept of what? So this you need to tell. So this is your homework. What are the products of neutralization reaction? Again, this I have explained what are the products. Rubbing a slice of lemon on tarnished copper pot helps to clean it. So which reaction is taking place? Now I will give you a hint here. Tarnished copper pot is nothing but a metal oxide, right? And lemon is what? It is an acid and this is a metal oxide, right? Metal oxides are again bases in nature, right? That is why you should never ever prepare lemon juice in copper pots or in copper jars, or ever drink that in copper glasses, right? Because it can cause copper poisoning, right? Okay, because lemon juice contains acid, right? And acid reacts with metal oxides, that is a base to produce harmful salts, right? So it can cause copper poisoning, which is very harmful for health, right? Okay. What is the main principle of the soda acid fire extinguishers, right? It is involved in production of what? So acid is there and soda is there. Soda is what? Base, right? Base and, okay, acid, right? So soda acid. So what does it produce and what does fire extinguishers release? If you can just correlate soda, baking soda, if you remember, I told you about. So soda means like we can consider sodium hydrogen carbonate and an acid, So basically here carbon dioxide is released, right? Carbon dioxide. And fire extinguishers use carbon dioxide to extinguish fires. So you can check your answers here. You can just pause the video and check the answers for yourself. And I hope you understood about the process of neutralization. And if you want to study this chapter in detail and do more of board questions, so together we can do it through my Urban Pro profile. You can contact me and we can study the chapter in detail, right? Thank you so much for your time and attention.